Hey guys, I'm Jax, a non-book boy, and this is my non-book boy review for The Wheel of Time, Season 3, Episode 7. So at the end of Season 1 of Wheel of Time, Loial gets stabbed, and I was 200% sure he died. But at the start of Season 2, Loial is just back, alive, and they're like, remember when he died? I don't. Shut up. What are you talking about? Just forget about that scene. He's fine. Look at him. Magic or whatever. He's fine. On a completely unrelated note, can't wait for Season 4. Right? Right? On a completely serious note, in honor of Loial and his hold the door / Gandalf on the Bridge of Khazad-dûm standoff, heroic sacrifice, and just moment of badass bravery that only fantasy can do in such a powerful, exhilarating, yet gut-wrenching way. In honor of him, I will not be doing my famous / infamous fashion talk. Fashion talk. Why? And I know. No one's sadder than I am that there's going to be no fashion talk. We're doing fashion talk. But out of respect for the dead, I dare not have fun. I dare not gleefully discuss the beautiful costumes. Because let's be real, it's pretty much just remember the costumes from last time all these characters appeared. Cover it in blood. Just soak everybody in blood. Which, usually, I'd be delighted to discuss. But when you kill one of my favorite characters, Mr. Ogier himself, Mr. Man who sings and trees grow, Mr. Man who apparently had to get home for some kind of longing situation that I feel like they explained, but I didn't catch it properly, so I'm like, he has to get home to like, I don't know, reboot, recharge. It's kind of like a laptop, like you can take him out for a bit, like on the train, but eventually it runs low, so he's got to get home to like charge. Is that what was going on? I don't know, and I never will, because they killed him. But there's one thing in storytelling where it's like, if you don't see them like fully die, they don't die. You know, I briefly mentioned Gandalf. He falls in one movie, and you're like, shit, well, you can't survive that. I mean, all I'm saying is if Gandalf can survive falling down a dark chasm of doom and destruction fighting a giant Balrog, maybe Loial can too. He wasn't even fighting a Balrog. He could have just like, I don't know, maybe in like his pocket, he had like an umbrella and he used it like the penguin does to like glide places. I don't know why that's a strange thing for him to do. I imagine he just fell into a very big pool of water and he just like has like a bath. He probably needs it too, you know. They're probably not bathing that often in the two rivers, despite there being presumably two rivers. I don't know if we ever saw two rivers. Maybe it's just a name. Maybe it's maybe it's ironic. Maybe there's no rivers. There's probably at least one though. Let's be fair. I'm spiraling. I'm rambling. I am not grieving. It's just a character in a show. Okay, no, in all seriousness, I feel like when an episode is entirely dedicated to Perrin, I should probably start talking about Perrin, a character I have infamously not discussed enough this season in any of my reviews. Every time I re-listen to them as I edit the reviews, it gets to the end and I go, people are going to think I hate Perrin. I love Perrin. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like there's always more to say with other characters. And once again, the Perrin-centric battle episode, all I can think about is Loial. I don't mean to. I have things to say about Perrin. I have talked too much about not talking about Perrin. Let's talk about Perrin. That being said, I actually just remembered another Loial thing I want to talk about. So, we're going to do that first. We have such a great structure for what storytelling is and how stories are told, especially like in the medium of TV and film. I'm sure everything else has it too, but I feel like I'm particularly clued in for how movies and TV shows work, where just like something will happen and immediately your brain just goes, oh no, that means this later on. How dare you? And as soon as Loial was like, I've got to go on a super secret mission to shut the WayGate, and these two sexy ladies are going to come with me, and Perrin's like, I'll come too. And he's like, no, I gotta do a big sacrifice. You can't come. It's not gonna work like that. And we gotta split up the battle so there's different things happening to keep it engaging and like to cut between things and all that stuff. Classic stuff. And I just, as soon as that happened, I was like, no. And Perrin's all like, your, what was he say? Something incredibly epic. And I'm gonna, your name sings in my ears. And then he's like, no, your name sings in the ears of everybody. I'm going to write a big book or whatever. And I'm like, that book is never getting written. Fun twist, he wrote the book before he died. Fun's not the right phrasing. But then there's the moment after where he's like, okay, I got to get into the gate. I'm going to shut it from behind and you just make sure no one gets in to stop me. And I was like, hold on. If you've shut it from behind, then you're not coming back. And immediately then it's just like, okay, don't do this to me, Wheel of Time. And then the next moment he's got his big hammer thing and he goes like, boom. And he hits the columns and they have that vibrating magic that's like defending, like a shield, some kind of absorby shield. And as soon as like he does a big Ogier smash on it, and nothing happens, he does it a couple of times. And just as soon as that happened, I was like, I'm not even 100% sure that he's going to die. I'm 100% certain how he's going to die. He's going to have to smash the ground underneath him, and it's all going to collapse, and he's going to fall, and they'll all fall with him, and a big old sacrifice, but they can't get back to, like, as reinforcements for the two rivers. Big heroic sacrifice. Love it, but tragic and sad. Yeah, just, so brutal. The moment he realized he does it, it's just, it's such a good moment. Such a classic fantasy, heroic, like, I don't know, moment of sacrifice. And I think this is the key big thing that, like, I am sad and it's tragic and all, but they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Nothing in storytelling that I hate more than a hero or a main character or a character in any sense self-sacrificing themselves when they just don't need to. Like a classic example would just be like a character's like, you guys go run, I'll hold them off. And then they're holding them off and then they get stabbed and they die and they fall on the ground. And then all the heroes are like 10 feet away and they're looking and they're like, no, main character, why did you do that? And then they run and it's like, that 10 feet that you've made while he self-sacrificed, pointless, unnecessary. Just like he didn't need to die. If he had just run with you, like the time the characters often take in a show where they go, you run, no, we can't leave you behind. Do it, you've got to go, I'll stay behind, I won't die, this isn't me dying. And like that time that the characters are all having this discussion, if you all just got up and ran away, it's the same. And it's often they don't even do anything to actually stop the villains or the bad guys or the goons or whatever getting through and keep like progressing. Like it's not a moment that stops and it's like a proper self-sacrifice where it's like in this one he completely shuts the WayGate. They cannot come, the reinforcements can't come. It's a perfect self-sacrifice. And I just feel like, especially in TV, you see it all the time and I'm so exhausted by that cliche. And it's just like, imagine if he hit that down and then like Mr. Teeth called out one of the troglodytes, the Trollocs, and he's like, bro, there's actually a waypoint like 20 meters down the other way. And they just went through another waypoint and they just like came out. And I was like, well, he saved it for maybe 20 minutes, but he didn't really do anything. This time it felt like if you're going to die for something, that's something to die for. Because he saved everybody's lives. And I like that. Even though I don't like that because it's sad. But yeah, God, they were close. I was like, oh boy. If he dies and they still get through somehow, even if it's later, I will be furious. But luckily, I'm only furious because they killed him, which is what I'm meant to feel. So, have we got to that juicy moment halfway through the review where I get to finally talk about Perrin? So, I have a couple of thoughts about Alanna. So Perrin this week finally gets his big hero kind of, I don't know, leader moment. And I really enjoy how kind of reluctant he is. It kind of feels like a guy who's just like, I just want to be a blacksmith and make out with my babe, Lady Gaga. I wish my wolf buddy was around. And he doesn't want to be the leader. He doesn't want to be the hero of the moment. But that's why it has to be him. And that great line Lady Gaga has to him where she's like, hey, if we wanted the best warrior, we'd pick the Aiel. If we wanted the best magic people and leaders, we'd pick Alanna. But they want you because you're one of them. One of us. One of us. One of us. That was me being one of the Two Rivers guys. I'm holding like pitchforks and being like, one of us. But yeah, I really like the reluctant hero that Perrin has become. Just wants to be a humble blacksmith. But he can't. He's got to step up for the moment, and he does. In a big battle episode or battle movie, like your Bravehearts or your even Gladiator to a certain extent, like things that have big heroic battle moments, there's nothing, and it's kind of the same for a sports movie with like the coach or the captain. You kind of want the leader and the hero that like of that moment. You kind of want them to have a badass speech. It's kind of like this, like the action and like the tactics and all this cool fighting and stuff and magic and all that stuff. All of that is great, but it really kind of rests on like the shoulders of how good the speech is from our hero. And oh boy, my expectations were pretty high as well, because I'm like, oh, the reluctant hero Perrin is going to start off being like, oh, I don't know what to say. Then he's going to say something like really big and powerful. But no. Oh, it blew my mind. He just starts singing that song about the Menethrian. I'm just going to go with Menethrian because there's literally no way for me to check. And I know you're saying there's actually several ways you could check. Let's just agree to disagree. So he sings the song of the So he starts singing that song. You know what song it is. You've gotten to this point in the review. You know what song it is. And he just starts singing it. And just that moment where he's just kind of all alone. And then all of them get together. And it's just this like goosebumps on your goosebumps on your goosebumps kind of moment where there's just such momentum and power. And you're kind of like, can the underdogs do this? Can they fight these immeasurable, impossible odds against these monsters? But then as soon as, and like you're totally on that kind of wave, but then as soon as the Trollocs start screaming, I love how the song just cuts out. Like they don't get more powerful and more like, yeah, we can do this. They just immediately all like, oh, jeez. And they're like holding their shields up and they all kind of like freak out and back away a little bit. And I just thought that was a really great little beat. Because you're just like on this wide of like, oh, is his speech going to be good enough? Oh, he's going to do a song. And then and then you're like, oh no, they are so scared. I don't know. I just think that said so much about all the different parties and all the different factors that were building up to this moment. And it was just done so perfectly. I absolutely loved it. Also, that song, certified banger. So speaking of speeches, Alana's toy boy number 2, he gets a big moment where he's alone with the warriors. Perrin's gone back to check reinforcements or do something, I can't remember. And he's all like, all right, shit, I've got to do a speech now. Double speeches! And I'm like, yes, let's go. Because that other one, technically not a speech. So we're in the clear. And I just love how he's like, hey, it's not soldiers who win battles. It's idiots. Idiots are too idiotic to know that it's time to stop battling. And I'm like, this is what I'm all about. This is some juicy battle speeches. I absolutely loved it. I think it speaks once again to who is fighting, who is trying to lead them in this moment. He doesn't have that like one of us kind of mentality and moment that Perrin does, where he's like, hey, let's sing this song of the last time there was a big battle here. And it just like draws all this stuff about who they are. And he's just like, no, I'm not a soldier. You're not soldiers. Let's just do our best. Let's just like be dumb and fight and let's just try. And I just thought it was so cool and so awesome. Yeah, spectacular stuff. Loved all of that stuff. Every single kind of little character moment in this episode I really did love. And then of course, all of the action and the fighting was all a lot of fun. I do particularly think the thing that really stood out to me was at the end of that speech, they built some kind of ramp to get over the spiky spikes. And then he's just like, and just like headshots one of them immediately to kick off the battle, like the second wave of the battle. Loved it. So let's discuss the action and the sword fighting and the fighting and stuff. For the most part, very, very entertaining. I do love an action battle set piece, particularly when it's fantasy. I do feel like in terms of the structure of some of the moments, in terms of building to the really good character moments, I do think some of them I would have liked a bit more clarification on. And really the one that comes to mind is that at the end of the battle, Perrin has Big Teeth, Padden Fane, I think his name is. I'm just going to call him Mr. Teeth because I feel like I get his name wrong every time. You know who I'm talking about. The villain guy who was there at the Two Rivers at the first episode in season 1. He kind of rocks up. Actually, there's 2 issues I had with his kind of moments, because that moment at the end of episode 6, or whenever he was in episode 6, and you're like, oh shit, he's infiltrated the White Cloaks. Like, he's crazy. That's going to be really interesting to see how that plays into the battle. And I loved when Dane and Perrin were like facing off against each other, like before the battle, and he's like, I'll turn myself in. If you fight for us, be friends for a bit, you know? Frenemies. Nothing I love more in a story than when a hero and their villain, their arch nemesis, particularly if they've killed their father, have to team up to fight a greater evil. But then having that, like, arch nemesis accidentally have his other arch nemesis, like, hidden in his army, it was just structured to build really, like, I don't know, it's just, there were so many moving pieces. It was like watching a checkers and chessboard game mixed together or something, where I'm like, I don't know how this is all going to play out throughout the battle and throughout the stratagem of the battle with all the tactics and everything, and like when they're going to reveal themselves, when this is going to happen and all this stuff. And then it ended up just kind of being like, they rock up and they're like, hey, we're the White Cloaks. And they're like, how'd you get over the hill? Aren't the Trollocs there? And they're like, what Trollocs? And it's like, what do you mean, what Trollocs? The Trollocs that you're here to fight? And then he turns around and he's like, hey, that guy's evil. And then they just fight. And it's just like, oh, you didn't even try and hide. Like, it just, I don't know, it just felt a little messy and a little quick. Like, I just felt like, I don't know, just how you could structure that. I think the pacing or the timing of that could have been more interesting. Like, I think there could have been a moment where they're like, hey, I hate you. And Dane's like, I hate you too, Two Rivers. And like, there's a moment where they bond and everyone's arming up ready. And they're like, and there's a moment. This is it. We're all together. Wait, who's that guy? Boom! And then there's the betrayal. Whereas it just kind of felt like it all happened in one moment. Whereas I feel like sectioning it off into 2 moments would have just strengthened it to make you go like, wait, is Fane even here? Like, what's going on? Oh shit, he's right behind him. I don't know. Yeah, that was just something where I just felt a little rushed. Where we've been building to these really big, powerful moments for so long. And it just kind of happened. And then he's just like, charge, fight. And I was like, tactics all out the wazoo. Is this really how you want to play it? I don't know, just seemed a little strange. Now I know, I'm Mr. Positive and I do love being positive, but yeah, I just think the tactics in battles, I feel like sometimes they just go, well, there's swords swinging about and look how much fire we have in the background. They're not going to think about it. Or that is kind of what I'm thinking about, even though often fire in the background will distract me. So I'm going to compliment Sandwich this negativity about Pain, because I have another issue with his situation. And I'm going to go back to something I absolutely loved. So Alana and Matt's 2 sisters and some old lady who's like, I don't want to not be a drunk if that means doing magic. And I'm like, did anyone say you had to give up drinking? Just drink and do magic. I drink and watch football. Multitasking is possible. Just don't limit yourself. And so all these 4 ladies, they do a big channeling thing and they shoot down all of these ice, like spears of ice, and just take down a bunch of the Trollocs and the Dark Friends. Super cool, super amazing. I thought it was really funny as well, and it kind of speaks to just like the commonness and like the kind of, they are really not soldiers. Like all the common folk of the Two Rivers, they're all just like, do you reckon they've given up then? We did it, did we? I'm like, what do you? No, bro, no, they haven't given up. There's just ice falling from the sky. They've just run away from it. Given up? Come on, Two Rivers common folk. These peasants are really acting like a bunch of peasants. And I'm not saying like that in like a derogatory sense. Wait, sorry, no. That's exactly what I'm saying. Absolutely loved it. Such a good moment of like drawing the enemy in so they're all closed down and then spraying a bunch of like magic ice on them. Kind of feel like though, if I had like one Aes Sedai who was like channeling 3 others to like work with her, I'd be like, can you do that like again? Like they come down from the hill and like she gets shot with a giant arrow. I'm like, who shot that arrow? That arrow was massive. But I'd be like, stay up on the hill. Just do more magic. And I understand they gotta like power down and charge up again. Like they can't just keep doing magic. It like drains them. But like this is serious stuff. This is a big war battle situation. You don't want to just like rest for half an hour up on the hill and then do it again? Please? Magic Witch Lady? Okay, so that didn't end on the most positive note, but that is the positive part of my positive sandwich, which is like positive meat and the buns of negativity. Is that how a positive, negative, is that how that sandwich situation works? It doesn't matter. I'm still in mourning from Loial. I know that was a very long time ago we were discussing him, but I am still in mourning. So forgive me if I don't know my sandwich related metaphors correctly today, because I definitely didn't get that right. I definitely didn't get that right. So my other issue with Mr. Teethman, Pattern Fane, I feel like I say that and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Or is that completely right? It doesn't matter. Mr. Teeth has a one-on-one little kind of fight or scream off with Perrin, and he tackles him to the ground. He's got his axe. He's about to kill him. We get that classic hero moment where he's like, I've killed a bunch of goons and people that don't matter, because who cares if they have families? But you, the main character, I'm not going to kill you. And even though it actually 200% makes sense for like what this season, I feel like, as a whole has been about, what Perrin's kind of arc has been about, with the whole kind of conflict and contrast and kind of the ideological kind of warring between the Aiel, warriors, fighters, and the Way of the Leaf. Don't fight. Be a big old coward. I feel like that has been kind of like this thematic kind of central thing weaving throughout the season. It's been like kind of the big centerpiece of so many episodes. There are so many lines earlier in the episode where the two Aiel girls like talk about when the Way of the Leaf, or the Way of the Leaf people from season 1, they rock up again. I'm like, oh, I remember them. Season 1. It's fun. They got the actors back. Always a delight when they've not been in the show for so long, but they get the actors back. It's good. It's like, oh yeah, I hate when recasting happens just because they couldn't get them back. Really delightful stuff. But they come back and they're like, he's hot, but we would never even bother with that kind of disgusting coward kind of guy. And I'm like, oh boy, those two Aiel would not handle the truths of Ruidian. They would, they're leaving those spears on the doors of Ruidian. That's a fact. So yeah, there's been a whole thing for the whole season about like the Way of Leaf and the Aiel, the warrior stance, peace versus warring, and all that stuff. And so, like, I understand Perrin was with the Way of the Leaf people for a bit, and he's like, yeah, the Way of the Leaf sounds good. I accidentally killed my wife, and that sucked. So he was like, I'm doing a war. No, I'm actually a peace guy. Actually, peace doesn't work. I gotta do a war. And he's like trying to bounce between all that. And so it makes sense that he saves his people. He does the heroic thing by not killing a character. But I feel like the structure of how the battle was staged at that stage, like the action's all good, it looks beautiful, all the costumes and designs and the stunts, all the stuff, it looks good. But just in terms of like the actual like blocking of the scene and like the build up of that moment, because Loial had done his big hold the door / Gandalf sacrifice, I didn't get the sense that they were still going to lose the battle. I thought Loial had actually kind of saved them and that they could kill off the last couple of Trollocs in the battle. And so when he like doesn't kill Mr. Teeth, he's like, Mr. Teeth, if you say you'll get everyone out of here because you're commanding them, if you all run away, I won't kill you. And that works if Loial hasn't already saved them. Whereas I kind of emotionally had thought he'd saved them, and there was nothing in the way I was viewing the battle and the way they had framed it and stuff that I was like, oh, they're going to still lose. I can't believe they're still going to lose. I kind of felt like, sure, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 other people were going to die, but like, how important is Fane, whatever his name is, Mr. Teeth? How important is it? Is it not like maybe worth to kill him? Is he not one of the main henchmen? There was that meeting at the start of season 2 where there was like 12 people in cloaks, and he was there. So is he not one of the 12 most important bad guys in the whole show? I don't know. I just feel like I had like a deep feeling in my gut where I'm like, oh, Perrin is going to come to regret this decision. This guy is going to kill somebody that Perrin loves later in the show. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Teeth kills Lady Gaga later in the show, and it's a moment of like, you should have killed me when you had the chance, Perrin. And it's like, I don't know, it reeks of like that kind of like moment to me. And because in that moment, I was like, I don't know if they really are going to lose this battle. So it's not like he saved everybody. Sure, he saved anybody else from dying, and I guess that's the point. But it still just felt like, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine where like a really main antagonist that's done main antagonist stuff gets let off the hook because the hero like just kind of doesn't want to kill. But that is part of Perrin's plot, and that's kind of the frustrating duality of the whole Way of the Leaf. Because like obviously in just like the real world, in real life, peace is obviously the way to go. Like, peace all the time. See one guy roughing it up at the pub, and you're like, who's this bloody guy? We're just trying to watch the footy and have a beer. Like, this guy's all like, you know, it's like, I count it. Peace is obviously, like I guess in real life, I'd be like, I'm a Way of the Leaf guy. But guess where I live? Not in the Wheel of Time-averse. I don't know. If I lived in a Wheel of Time-averse, a Game of Thrones-averse, like, if I lived in somewhere where there's just constant war and things coming at me, I would, like, become violent. Like, I live in a peaceful kind of general, like, world and life, but if someone broke into my home and tried to kill my baby, and the only way to stop them killing my baby was for me to pick up a knife and stab them in the neck and kill them, I would be pretty pissed off if my wife then went, get out of the house. How dare you save our baby? We're peaceful. You should have just let our baby die. Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. Just like, to my core. Like, I would never hurt anybody. But if you tried to kill my brother, I'm killing you. I'm coming at you, brother. Oh, said brother too many times. I'm coming at you for coming at my brother. I had this same visceral reaction in episode 4 with the Ruidian flashback, where I'm like, Rand's ancestor did nothing wrong. He didn't even go to that situation with a weapon. He's like, I'm going with no weapon. I'm just going to try and like find my sister or whatever it was and like save her. And he had to use a weapon in self-defense. And in this episode, guy from season 1, Way of the Leaf guy, he is kind of like, I feel like he's almost a metaphor for Perrin's whole thing, but kind of going the opposite. Because Perrin's like, doing a bunch of violence. Now I'm peaceful and take me away, Mr. Dane, White Cloak. The other guy's like, I'm peace all the time, but then he's forced to do like a violent thing. And he kind of parallels Rant's ancestor, which I thought was very interesting. But it still gave me such a visceral anger, because like there's that moment where you see the knife, and it's not even his knife, it's the Trollocs knife. And he picks up the knife and he stabs the Trolloc and he saves a baby, an actual baby. Something that is so like peak defenseless. Like not even like a toddler that could maybe run away or something. Like, he's carrying this baby. It's like the baby will not survive unless he protects it. And he grabs the knife at the last minute in the most self-defense anything could ever be in self-defense, stabs the Trolloc, and then when he gets back to town, his mum's like, whew! This is now twice in this season of TV where mothers who are Way of the Leafers disown their sons for self-defense saving someone else in the family. Disgusts me to my core. Made me sick to my stomach. It just, context is key. And I'm red hot. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's very great TV because it elicits such feeling and passion, but I don't agree with the Way of Leafers. They come across as self-righteous hippie cowards, and I just yeah, I feel like they, like 80% of what they're talking about is all good, but the disowning of someone who's like not a warring maniac, like even when the battle is going on, he's not like, I've got to defend, I've got to pick up a sword. He's like, no, okay, we'll sneak away and we'll hide. But only when a Trolloc is about to smash a baby's skull all over his body does he pick the knife up. And I'm like, I feel like that's when the line can be crossed. Once! But no, just disown him. Yeah, sure, that's cool. I just feel like that, yeah, there's something about the disowning, the Way of the Leaf disowning everyone, I just don't like. Yeah, complicated, interesting stuff. Whew! Feel like that got a little hot and heavy. Let's talk about something fun. God, there's a lot of blood, wasn't there? I'm trying to think of something fun that happened, but it was mostly a battle episode. There was lots of blood and gore and people killing other people, and it was sad and brutal. So Perrin's going to get arrested. I kind of didn't think that was going to happen. That moment where Dane Whitecloak guy comes back and he's like, hey, good fighting with you. Oh, yeah. Thank you for helping kill all the evil Whitecloaks that infiltrated our camp and we didn't notice because we're idiots. So you're coming with us though, right? You're arrested and you said you would. And I'm like, bro, he said that before all the shit went down. You're still going to do this to him? Oh, that is... Oh, what a prick. But I do love that moment of he's like, and this is, I have said a lot against peace, which is not, if you listen enough, you know that's what I'm saying. I'm not anti-peace. I just feel like context is key. Perrin is like the wheel of violence is never going to stop until someone just says stop. That I do love. That is a great moment, and that kind of speaks to his whole arc of the Way of the Leaf Aiel kind of thingy, and him not killing Fane, and he arrests himself, and he's like, no more violence. We're enemies, but we all teamed up to fight other enemies, but I'm going with this enemy. No more violence. I do love that, and I love the idea of I don't know what's going to happen now. And that's an interesting plot for him to be arrested and on his own now with the White Cloaks. Love all that. But just that look of the Way of Leaf, that mum, her satisfied smug, yeah, I actually respect you now. You've given yourself up. Oh my God, you disowned your son. He saved a baby. I just disagree. And I feel like especially, he didn't even kill a guy. He killed a giant Trolloc. It's like this giant, hairy, monstrous demon with horns. It's got horns. It's like a devil. Oh my God. Yeah, one more thing. I have one more thing to say. Oh, the review's gone for too long. I'm sorry. Mr. Question, everybody's favorite Batman villain. Mr. Question gets killed by Matt's two sisters. He somehow sneaks away from the battle, and he's like, hey, Alana, you're the witch. And he goes to kill the witch because he's like, I'm Mr. Question. I'm Mr. Questionnaire Man. I hate witches. And then they burn him alive, which is beautifully just ironic or whatever. He burns the witches, so they burn him. Beautiful, just satisfying, him burning all that stuff. Real good stuff. Kind of do feel though, because he was such a good villain, I thought the performance was great, the actor was fantastic, really chilling and upsetting villain. One of the standouts very early on in the show, I think he appears in episode 2, or maybe, even 2 or 3. Right out of the gate, I was like, oh, I hate this guy. He's super loathsome and just great performance. I love to hate him. Kind of would have liked to see more of him. And if he was going to die in this episode, maybe give him a scene or 2 in other episodes to really just make you go, okay, now I've had my fill. He's a great villain, but he's got to go. Because in this, it was oh shit, they lit him on fire, he's dead. And it's satisfying in theory, but I felt like it was a little rushed. But maybe that's just because I'm a glutton to see stuff happen. I just want to see more. And it's one of those things where when you only have 8 episodes, you can't spend time on everybody. I understand that. But I think he's one of the characters where I'm I would have liked to see 1 or 2 more scenes just to strengthen that villainous portrayal, because it was just so good. The actor, the performance, the character, very interesting, and I loved his parallel to Dane, who is still a villain, but so much more likable and understandable, whereas he's working with this absolute monster. I would have loved a dinner table scene where they're just sitting around the fire before the battle, where it's him, Fane, and the Question Man, and they maybe have a dialogue scene, a 3 or 4 minute scene where you just kind of get a back and forth to feel out those dynamics a little bit more. What is their kind of pre-battle kind of, vibes? I don't know. I'm just a glutton for more stuff, but what are you going to do? It was good that he burnt to death. That was if he's going to go, that's how you want to go. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the YouTubey things, and most importantly, comment below, what did you think of this episode? Big yays, big nays. I would love to know, is this exactly how Loial died in the books? Was it different? I'd love to know any book differences that won't spoil future things that happened in this episode. That's always one of my most fascinating, interesting things once an episode ends. How is it different? But no spoilers, please, for future stuff. But yeah, what an episode. We've all had fun. We all definitely didn't get a little overheated yelling about Way of the Leafers, who are, probably right, but just can't stand him.